Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make this necklace here, and it features a chain fringe with little seed beads on the end and some wire wrapping. And this is all done around a Nunn design form, and then we just created the chain part of the necklace and finished it off with a magnetic clasp. And this is lightweight enough that you could do a magnetic clasp on it. So we're going to do it in gold for the video here. So we have our gold chain. I have 2 feet. Now that's going to make about a 17-inch long necklace. If you want it longer, just add an extra foot of chain, or 2 feet, however long you want it. We're going to use some 24 gauge artistic wire. Now you can also do a 22 gauge as well. It's just your preference. Then we've got a head pin, we have an eye pin. Sometimes I get those confused. I don't know if you do too. And then we've got jump rings. These are 4mm 22 gauge. And then we've got a little magnetic clasp. We're going to use this gold Nunn design open frame pendant. And you see it's got these 2 little holes up at the top. And it comes to this really pretty little tapered point. And then we're going to be using a mix of Miyuki Delica size 10-0 seed beads. And I pulled a couple of them because they do come in a wide variety of mixes. And they're just really, really pretty. And actually, I can't decide which one I want to use. Let me see. I love this one here, these kind of springy pastel colors, but I also really like this purple mix too, if I can get it open. Oh yeah, I think I'll do the purple and the gold for this one, but you can see you do have a nice selection, and it's fun because you get different colors all in one tube, so you're not having to buy individual tubes of seed beads, which is really cool. For the tools, you're going to need a couple pairs of chain nose pliers to open and close those jump rings, a wire looping or round nose plier to create a loop to finish off this little top part that I'm going to show you, and a pair of cutters. So those are your tools. You'll also need a ruler as well. Let's go ahead and begin by doing some wire wrapping. So this is going to be step 1 of this process. There's a couple steps, but it's really fun. Let me put these little beads away just so they don't get mixed up with my other ones. All right. All right, so we've got our artistic wire here, and this is really nice and soft. It's a very soft wire, easy to work with. And I'm going to cut off, 15 inches or so. You don't need a huge amount. And I'm going to start, let me just get rid of that little kinky tail there. We're going to start by wire wrapping some of these seed beads onto the form. To do that, we want to place about 1 inch of the wire extending outward from the form, and we're going to hold on to that. And what's great about these open frame forms by Nunn Design is it makes wire wrapping so much easier. I'm going to show you why. You can actually just loop that wire through, around, through, and around, instead of having to actually feed the tail through a solid circle or a solid form. So let's begin by just making a few nice tight wraps around that outer edge. You can do 3, you can do 5. Just make sure it's really well anchored. And we're going to keep this tail a little bit longer just so we have something to grip onto. At the very end, we'll trim it and tuck it in so it doesn't have a little sharp edge to it. So we're ready to add our first bead. And we are just going to randomly pick up a color from our mix. So we use the end of the wire as a needle. Slide that little guy down and have him rest up against the edge there. And then do a wrap around. Now at this stage, you can either do another wrap or just add another bead. And if you look at the example right here, I just kept wrapping. So totally up to you if you want to do extra wraps or if you just want to add beads. I'll follow the sample I did for the other one so that they're the same. So just what you're doing is you're really holding those beads in place along the outer edge as you go around your form. And if you do your wraps tight enough, they'll stay secure like that. almost feels like sewing in a little bit. I feel like I'm whip stitching this together and adding my little beads. And I do like that I can just put my wire end through this middle section. That really does save me a lot of effort. But this is what we've got going so far. So we're just adding those little beads. It's a nice little decorative edge. And then when we get down to this little pointed tip, we're just going to keep on going. We're not going to change our method at all. Okay, so here we go. We're now working our way up. Try to keep the spacing as best as you can so the sides match. I do notice that these get a little bit more spaced out on this way just because we're winding up versus winding down, but it looks pretty similar. Okay, and start to see when you get about to the same length as the first side, because we're going to need to wrap it up so that it matches. So I think we're pretty close. You can also count the beads if you want, but like I said, the spacing over here is a little bit wider. So I really just want to go visually what looks right. And I'm going to say that looks right to me. So now I'm going to go ahead and make the same number of wraps on this side as on the other side. So I had 5 on that first side, so I'll do 5 here. Okay. That around to the back. Make sure both your tails are in the back, and then we're just going to trim them. And what I like to do too is I like to take my chain nose and just push down that wire edge to make sure it's not poking up. Okay, so we've done our wire wrapping. So that is the base of our form. And now we're ready to create our fringe. To create our chain fringe, we are going to cut 7 lengths of chain that are 1 inch long each. So that's a mouthful. So here we go. So what you can do, a quick and easy tip for this, is cut your first length. Take a head pin or an eye pin. Place it through, oops, I got 2 of them, the end chain link. And then you don't need your ruler anymore. You can just go ahead, place it into the end chain link on the next length and line them up and then cut them to match. So we're just seeing where the ends are. Okay, we're going to do that for 7 of them total. Be a little bit quicker and easier when you have to make multiple chain lengths that are the same. So we need 2 more. So I've got 4 on there, 2 already there, and 1 more. Okay, there's our little chain links. And what I want to do for this particular project is I want to add a little jump ring with a little seed bead on the end of each one of them. So I'm going to do that first. So I'll need 7 jump rings and 7 seed beads. And this is super easy to do. We're just going to open up a jump ring. Actually, I don't like that particular jump ring, so I'm going to grab another one. Open it up, slide on a seed bead right onto the jump ring itself, slide it onto the end chain link. Close it on up, make sure it's closed well, and repeat that with your other links. And try to get different colored seed beads on there if you can. Okay, we've got our links. Now we're ready to create the fringe. So we're going to take our eye pin, feed it through one hole, and now we're going to just pick up the end chain links. So we're just going to string these all onto this piece of wire via their end links. And I'm actually really surprised at how different this design looks in the gold. It's funny how just changing the metal color can really change the overall feel of the design. Oops. Now I'm going to make this into a necklace here in just one moment, but you could also make this into a pair of earrings, which I think would be really pretty too. Okay, so carefully pull back that wire and put it through the other hole. So there we've got our fringe. And now we're going to take our wire looping plier. We're going to grab it right where it exits. Pull, and then we're going to loop it around. Get the fringe out of the way. Make it so it crisscrosses. And then we're going to trim off our excess. There we go. And then we're going to open, well, now we need to cut our lengths for our necklace. There we've got that focal piece. Now I'm just going to divide this in half really easily. Of what was left, we started with the 2 feet. We used 7 inches, so 2 feet is 24 inches. We minused 7 inches for our fringe, which, if my math is right, leaves us with 17 inches, which is great for our necklace length. Now we can do one of two things. We can go ahead and connect this chain to these little loops directly using them as jump rings, or we can just add extra jump rings. So I think I'm actually just going to add extra jump rings right now. That seems a little bit easier to me. So let's go ahead. Open a jump ring, put it onto your end chain link. Close it on up. So we linked it to one of those little loops that we had. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Close it on up. We're almost done with this complete project. Okay, so here's what we've got. Got that little fringe, and now we just have to add our little magnetic clasp. Separate out your magnetic clasp. We're going to add a jump ring to the end chain link up here. And 1/2 of the magnetic clasp. It is magnetic. It's a very strong magnet. Now normally I wouldn't use a magnetic clasp as small as this for a necklace, but these are very strong and this is a very lightweight necklace. So I really think you can very safely get away with it. It's not going to just pull off due to weight. And it's going to be really comfortable to wear and easy to put on. So that's the advantage of it. These are really powerful little magnets. Okay, we are done. Yay, so let's clasp our clasp. And we have created a really pretty little focal using chain to create fringe and a little bit of wire wrapping. You can see I have it in the 2 different colors here. And it looks like my other fringe might have been just a little bit longer, so you can see that. So you can really choose what length you want for your fringe. And that is complete. So I hope you enjoyed this pretty quick and easy tutorial. It was a little bit more work than some of the ones we do, but all the techniques were very simple and it creates a really pretty design that you can see you can do in a lot of different colorways. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our other videos at beadaholique.com.